Hello and welcome to the first official episode of the Hot Topic Podcast. Speaking to you right now is one of your hosts, June Conrad, son of Conrad. And next to me are my two other hosts and friends from day one,
Stony.
And Mary.
And I said before, we are the Hot Topic Podcast. Now, what the heck is the Hot Topic Podcast? It is a group of 3 college students from Micronesia, more specifically Gashai, speaking on things relevant to the Pacific Islands with a focus on, again, the Micronesian region. Some things went down. One in particular that we want to talk about last Thursday, November 7th, and it is the poetry night that happened at the Chaminade Library lawn, and I didn't know anything about it because I don't look at the walls at Chaminade. But basically what this event was, it's an annual thing that Chaminade and Kaimuki High School do, where they have students from Kaimuki High School come here, recite poems. One particular poem that we wanted to talk about is one done by young lady Shannon Shamor. Now, the poem that she recited was about how people view Micronesians and how she is going to take that and basically build off of that. What are some highlights you guys heard from Shannon's poem?
One thing she mentioned was a roach. How much I love hearing about roaches. How we should know our place. That part really caught my attention. Because roaches, wow. Am I right, guys? Roaches.
I mean, yeah, like it's a common word used to insult other Micronesians, especially in Hawaii. I don't hear it in other places. Like you don't hear it in Kauai. You don't hear it in the mainland, right? Like it's only Hawaii.
It's only Hawaii.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Hawaii is the only place that has this kind of stigma against Micronesians.
You sure?
Yeah, because like in other places, I believe it's not as the Micronesian community isn't
In the
as
mainland,
big.
in the mainland, it's mostly just foreigners in general that they have a stigma.
You already got a bunch of foreigners, but here it's like
Okay.
But yeah, in her poem, some key words, as you guys said, her usage of the word roach. Another word that she used that was had a really big impact, savage. Throughout the poem, she says how others see Micronesians, one of them being a person who uses her fists rather than their words, connecting again to the word savage. And also saying stuff how basically we trash.
Yeah, how she said we're known to be failures or something.
Yeah.
Something along the lines of that, yeah.
Did she mention, she was like, how did most of her lines start?
For the first half is I'm supposed to be.
I'm supposed to be a failure.
Yeah.
I think my favorite line, I don't know, just kind of struck a bone, oh yeah. One of the lines in the first half of the poem is I'm supposed to be a teen mother, right? A teen mom. I'm not supposed to succeed. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, because, hey,
it'd be like that.
When you don't know how to use a condom. When they don't...
No, don't. Next topic.
No, honestly, because they don't teach us how to have safe sex over in
There's no sex ed in Kauai.
Yeah, exactly.
No sex ed.
Oh, no, there is.
I know in Kauai, they don't have sex ed education.
Oh, they have...
Sex ed education?
They have a reproduction course or something like that.
They don't have that course.
They do. What are you talking about?
And
it's
what?
for girls.
For where?
Only for girls.
Oh, child development.
That's
Child development.
It's not
But
only for girls.
That's an elective.
That's an
not
elective,
a
and guys can
required-
take that class too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a
Oh,
class
that's right.
of some sort.
Yeah, but it's...
There's no sex ed, yeah. There's no mandatory sex ed class.
That's because sex. Talking about sex is awkward over there. You know what I mean?
Hey, because you're related to you can't walk up to a fucking pharmacist and be like, can I get some condoms?
Because she's gonna tell your mom.
Yeah, exactly. It might be
That
your
might be
auntie.
your auntie.
And then your auntie's gonna tell your mom, and then your mom's gonna be like, why were you getting fucking condoms at the fucking pharmacy, huh? Oh wait, they wouldn't say that so many. They wouldn't curse so much, but I mean, if they're an angry mother, they probably would
But yeah, the just talking about sensitive matters like this is very difficult for Micronesians,
especially the youth,
because it's very tightly knit, right? You don't want to be the one that brings up these kind of problems, and then everyone looks you in a way because majority doesn't talk about these problems. But young Shannon Shamor from Kaimuki High School dedicated her whole poem to just, reciting the ugly truths that comes with being a Micronesian in Hawaii, being a growing Micronesian in Hawaii. Just curious, were there any moments on your guys' side where you were confronted with these ugly truths, like with how a person might have reacted when you told them, "Hey, I am from Micronesia." You know what I mean?
Since moving here, and even before that, when I used to live here with my family, since we were a military family, we were stationed here, I didn't even know there was a discrimination against us until I moved to Hawaii, back to Kashai, and my dad told me about it. I'm like, wait, what? There's racism against Micronesians? And he was like, yeah, I was on the bus one time, and he told me about this man. He was like, wow, you don't seem like a Micronesian. He's like, what do you mean by that? He's like, well, you don't
look the part.
Yeah, you don't look the part. You don't look ugly. You don't.
He's hitting on you.
No, not me. It was I'm talking about the story
dad?
my dad told me.
Oh, okay.
You don't, or something like that. He said that the man told him that he didn't seem like a Micronesian. Your English is really good, or stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm like, and then when I heard that story, I was just like, whoa! I didn't even know that existed against us.
Yeah.
Or I don't like. Yeah, there's like negative stories, but there's also stories about like how we look like other races, like Filipino.
We look like Filipino.
No, I mean, like, for me, like, people would ask me, oh, are you Filipino? And I say, no, I'm Micronesian. And they're like, oh, you look more like us. Like, yeah.
Yeah, tackled the same scenario, or, like, confronted common things that people would mistake me as Hawaiian, Samoan, Tongan. Yeah.
Especially since you got fat.
Yeah, since I got big. I wish I played
He's
football.
husky. He got some muscle.
Hey, we can't speak in bias.
Anyways. But yeah, just, I don't know, like, that becomes kind of a negative when you throw out, Micronesian, you know what I mean? Like, it could be used as an insult.
What?
Like, fucking Micronesian.
Are you Micronesian?
Yeah.
And, like, the way, like, people say it.
Yeah, the way you say anything, it can be an insult. Like, you can just walk up to a man that's black, right?
Yeah.
You can just say, oh, hey, black person. That's, no one says that. And then you walk up to a micro, hey, micro.
True.
So you just, like, for sure they're micro. You call them, hey, micro. As you're not trying to be insulting, but somehow it is.
It comes off as that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And not just in real life, but it's also a really big problem in social media as well. Social media obviously being like a free landscape for you to just throw whatever you want to say out there. On multiple articles that relate to, Micronesian people, like every 3 of 10, 30% of the comments would be like, just say, why are they here?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Especially those when, unfortunately, it involves a criminal who is from Micronesia. A lot of comments tend to be like, deport them all.
Yeah.
Or, we're wasting our tax dollars on these people.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And
people are really ignorant about it. It's fucking...
And, like, I also saw one where it was like, they're coming here for a better life, but, like, they're criminals or something like that. Like, they're not staying true to what their goal really is. Yeah.
But then, like, on the other side, you ask them to name more than 2 places in Micronesia and they don't know anything, right?
Exactly.
Not a lot of people are aware of the agreement that, the Micronesian region had with the U.S., with the Compact of Free Association. No one is really aware of all the, fine lines and agreements in between the two. And there'd be some stuff that the U.S. has done in Micronesian history that we look over. You know what I mean? Like, say, with the bombings of the Marshall Islands. That it's the bombing of the Marshall Islands, that's still a problem that they're facing today. I've read an article recently that they still found traces of radiation in the clams and the Marshallese seabeds. And stuff like that, like, we choose to look over it to try and, prosper out of what can come from it. But people aren't aware of that.
Yeah, we're struggling too. They think we're only coming here to fuck around. One of my classmates just recently did a presentation on the bombings at the Bikini Atolls.
How do you say that?
Bikini?
No.
Atolls? Atolls? Is it
Atoll.
atolls?
Atolls.
Yeah.
Atolls? Who gives a fuck? You guys know what I'm talking about. Alright? Leave me alone. Alright.
You just don't want to say ad.
Continue. Atolls.
Okay, so the bikini atolls. She talked.
Sorry. No. Okay. Bikini atolls. What happened?
Okay, so the bikini atolls. What my classmate said was she's from Marshall.
Okay.
Like, I think you guys.
What's her
So
name?
she,
Oh, no.
that's
Don't
not
say her
important.
name.
oh my god. Okay, so what my classmate told me about the bikini atolls is that after the bombings and after like kicking everybody out from their islands, they started selling products, being completely like super insensitive about what they were doing to those people, like the bikini,
Oh,
what
yeah.
girls wear, and like there's a drink, I forgot what the name was, but it has like bikini
I heard
something.
about that.
I heard about
It's
it
like
too.
has the atom thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, I didn't know the Americans were that fucked up at the time. I mean, they're still kind of fucked up now.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, isn't every government kind of fucked up, if you think about it? But, yeah.
So what she talk about in the presentation? Just basically the insensitivity of, or
And,
just
like-
like the whole.
Yeah, like the whole situation, how, like, it's... The Marshallese are still struggling with it, even now, and that... like for one, there's this one story about a guy. He has to lie to his mom. She wants to go back to her island, but she can't because of all the radiation.
Mm-hmm.
So he tells her that they will go back eventually, but he knows that they
You
can't.
can't. Yeah. That's sad.
Not only is there radiation, but everyone's homes are like being,
The sea level. and shit.
yeah, it's sinking.
Yeah, dog. That too. Like, there was a video about like a whole bunch of different Pacific Islanders, like especially the youth, like coming together and like they presented a poem. I forgot what the poem was called, but it was really strong. It was very powerful, and
Mm.
if I find it,
Have you heard of Kathy Gentile Kitchener? It wasn't her poem.
Kathy Kinnan.
Yeah.
What's that?
Like she's a Micronesian.
She's a Marshallese.
She's a Marshallese poet. Yeah, she's known for poems regarding like climate change and like being Micronesian as well.
And, the stuff that she does helps along with the stuff that, again, going back to Shannon Shamor and her poems, just being able to represent our culture and our concerns in a way that is not destructive and is peaceful and like people would want to hear, you know what I mean? Like people would rather hear what you want to say if you're talking to them rather than screaming at them.
Yeah, using logic over violence.
Yeah,
basically.
logic over violence. Which brings us to another event that happened, during the weekend. Unfortunately, 16-year-old Starsky Willie was shot by a 50-year-old man in Kalihi. And yeah, a lot of controversial posts on that about what happened and everything. But yeah,
Since we don't know exactly what happened, we won't be
we won't
going
be
over
covering
that.
going into
Yeah.
too much of it. But the things that we will be going on is just, the reactions to
aftermath,
it.
Yeah.
Right? Again, you're also seeing, like, as we said before, just like in social media, whenever there's a Micronesian involved, commenters always find a way to flip it to,
Mhm.
like, it's a racial thing.
Yeah.
In moments like these, it's very important that we let them know, again, peacefully, and not with violence, that, this is not the case and that, an injustice has been done
Mhm.
and, like, things need to be gone into more. But that isn't helped by extreme actions as, like, stuff that I've seen on, like, Instagram, right? There's some stories that these kids post. Friends of Starsky, people who know Starsky, these kids, like, throwing chairs through the windows of the 50-year-old man
His house.
at his
Yeah,
house as
yeah.
kind of like payback,
Yeah.
Basically saying, like, we don't give a fuck anymore. Bullshit is bullshit. And, like, you show that to the whole public. Whose side is the public going to be on? The kids who are destroying a guy's house, or the guy who's, unsure, where his fate ends in terms of like legal issues and all that, where he's gonna legally end up in, and like what does that say about, our race as a whole, using that kind of protest.
Yeah, like it's important to represent Micronesia in a positive way. Yeah. I know one of the comments, like, it was a negative comment, how, like, the person was saying how the 50-year man did a good deed because he used the people's tax dollars in a good way or something like that.
No,
like,
I think what he said is like him getting rid of, Starsky means more money. I mean, like less tax dollar.
Yeah,
paid.
Something like that. I don't remember exactly
shit like
what
that.
the comment was.
It's pretty crazy how people can just become demons, like, when it comes to other people.
Yeah, just like throw people to the ground.
Just dehumanize them.
Dehumanize. With everything that's going on, with the sensitive thing, hopefully more details come out on like what actually happened. But what's really important right now is that, everyone stays calm and just, again, like pursue the message that you're trying to go for, but do it in a way that's like, that doesn't harm anyone else.
Progressive.
That's progressive. Like, ask yourself, throwing like shit through someone's window, what is that going to accomplish? People are just going to be more angry at you and less willing to follow your cause. Yeah, it's unfortunate, the passing of Starsky Willie. Hopefully everything is settled, and, condolences to his family and to his friends. He's from which high school? Farrington High School. Do you guys know anyone from Farrington?
No.
But yeah, you could check out, or like, the stories around it, make a judgment for yourself. But representing the Micronesian culture in a good or bad way, it's a very hard duty for all the Micronesian youth that's growing up in Hawaii today. A lot of pressure, especially when you're constantly being told that you're a roach, that you're a savage. But it's also important to just, put that up front and just talk about it and make it known.
And that's why we're here.
Yeah, and that's like something, one of the main reasons why we gather is just to talk about the issues so that it's not boiling and it causes us to
explode.
Yeah.
Then something extremes happen and we're going to regret.
Yeah. With that being said, is there anything that you guys, any last notes or impressions that you guys had on the whole situation with, say, the poetry or,
Oh, again, like, our hearts go out to the families that were affected by his passing. We know it's a hard time for the Micronesian community as well as the family.
I have, same thing, just condolences. It really sucks what happens, and hearing news like that, it's becoming kind of normal. Hearing about the deaths of young men or young women, because just like a few months, 2 months ago, I hear about another kid getting shot in front of his brother. So, I'm not getting used to it. It's crazy. I don't know how to explain it.
The moment it becomes normal, like that's when you gotta really reevaluate everything. But yeah, before things get a little too down, we're gonna stop it here. Thank you for listening to the first official episode of the Hot Topic podcast. Any comments, leave them down below. Thank you for listening again.
Bye. Thank you.
May you have a good, God-blessed day.
And if you don't believe in God, have a good day.